Yo, what's up, guys? We're back again. We've had so many people asking me and Jet both, what is your favorite fantasy draft strategy? Sometimes it's zero RB, depending on your draft spot. Sometimes it's hero RB. But the one thing that me and Jet, whether it's the front or the back, are really falling in love with is double hero RB. With how the board is shaping and how many people are going receivers, where they're going this Puka CD, Amon Ra range, even Malik Neighbors for a CMC realistically could fall to 10, 11, 12 in sleeper drafts. Taking someone in the back of the draft like CMC who has the 1-1 upside without injury risk, and again, I talk about this in every video. When you're drafting in fantasy, you do have to calculate injury in, but you also don't need to only focus on guys that have never been injured because one, injuries are flukes, but two, you are drafting to win a league. You're not drafting to come in fifth place. I cannot tell you where I finished in any of my leagues if I didn't win or didn't get last. That's all you're looking for is I don't want to finish last and I want to finish first. Anywhere in between does not matter. And if you're watching this video, I can promise you're not going to finish at the end of your league. So take risk while you're drafting. That's going to be something that really can propel your draft. But yapping's done. 1-9, if CMC falls, that's a great pick. Even 1-10, and you could still have someone like Devon A-Chain fall to 2-4. So I'm going to go ahead and draft CMC here. Genty, if CMC is gone, you could go Genty 112 with A-Chain if you like Genty a lot. But I love CMC getting him this late. So at the turn, we're hoping Devon A-Chain falls. He does in this scenario, which is beautiful, right? This
Yep,
is what we
bunch
want
of
in a double
receivers.
hero RB. Especially Jet and PPR, where we have two guys that are very well the second or third highest target shares on their team. CMC is
Yep.
maybe first. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
with how that's going to be.
Monsters in
But
PPR.
A-Chain gets a ton of targets in the backfield. We really like starting with this PPR monster. I didn't mean to click that. So, again, I mean, like I said, this is something me and Jet has fallen in love with. And here's a thing that I've tried to really preach on during these hero RB builds, and Jet can attest to this. If you guys are watching this video, you're probably doing more research than a lot of your friends, right? So you know you can find value in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the wide receiver position while everyone's drafting these like dead zone RBs because you know, hey, getting someone like Marvin Harrison here who in
Yep.
underdog ADP drafts is going around 212, right? He's typically the 25th, 26th pick. You know, okay, he's going to fall down here because in sleepers ADP is 36, which is 312. But in a sharper underdog league, something like that, right? Jet, I like Marvin Harrison the most here. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I love Marvin Harrison the most here, and I think the main key when it comes to the double hero strategy is that as soon as we get to this third round, unless somebody else at the quarterback or tight end position magically falls, like a Trey McBride or a Brock Bowers or somebody like that, most often that's not going to happen. Ideally, with this third pick, I want to get a guy who has the potential to break into a much higher tier of wide receivers. And Marvin Harrison, the way he's going to dominate the target share in Arizona, I think is the perfect way to go first. And I think with these next few picks, I mean, obviously not guaranteed it's going to be wide receivers, but our next few receivers that we do take in this draft, we want to take guys that are going to dominate the target share and have the potential to be receiver ones.
Absolutely. A big thing in Hero RB2, Jet kind of hit on this, but once you get your two RBs, you're done, basically, the whole draft. You might take a stab late, but the whole build with this is I'm drafting the best running back room in the league, and I'm just going to try to hit on all these receivers, these fillers, and that's how I'm going to win this league is having the best RB room in the league. Like, I know that I've talked many times, I like Omari and Hampton 4-4. In no world am I drafting a running back to be my flex when I have Devontae Adams on the board, when I have DJ Moore, right? That is, once
Yep.
you get your two running backs, you will see as we draft, you're done with this. Devontae Adams easily, correct, Jet?
Yeah, I like Devonte Adams a lot here for
Okay.
sure. Like he's just another guy that has the potential to be that high volume PPR demon where he can be in that wide receiver one, wide receiver two category for sure. So I think that's a great pick here. But like I
Yep.
said, we're just looking to hunt for guys that can dominate at the receiver position. And I think the beauty of this strategy, like you hit on a little bit earlier, is that we don't really have to fish for any of these running backs in this area. Like I saw James Conner just go. There's been some noise on Trey Benson filling a bigger role there. Alvin Kamara is somebody that went. We know where he's at in his career. He may not be as dominant as he's been in the past. So not having to really mess with some of these guys in this area, like you're hovering over right now. RJ Harvey, somebody we're unsure of with the snap share, despite the fact that we do like his upside in other types of builds. But the beauty of this build is that we are comfortable knowing we have CMC and HN, and we never have to worry about them throughout the course of the season, barring an unfortunate injury, which either way, if your first or second pick gets injured, you're probably cooked like we've touched on in the past.
Absolutely. Again, wide receiver, it's between Tet and George Pickens. Travis Hunter could be interesting if he actually does play 80% of snaps, but me and Jed have talked about this. It's, first of all, yes, he'll play 80% of snaps, but is it going to be something where after 4 weeks he's like, man, I really want to get some defensive reps, and he slowly comes down, starts playing more defense, because then his value tanks. Is he going to get injured? He got injured multiple times at Colorado from playing 150 snaps a game. That's something I'm really not interested in testing the water on for his ADP, especially when we have guys like Pickens and Tet here. Jet, talking about the hero RB build, we want guys that can dominate, have the potential to dominate their team share. That's why I'm leaning more towards Tet. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
I would 100% agree with
we
that.
love Tet, and again,
Tet could be an animal.
Yeah, talking about just getting value over your league mates in this range, Tet goes around pick 42, I think, in underdog ADP drafts. He goes like in the first 4 rounds. We are getting him pick 5-9. There's James, like all these, like people are drafting Xavier Worthy and Zay Flowers before Tet. That's where I'm talking about. When you hit these 2 RBs, you can find wide receiver value, right? Like Pickens is someone that's going in the top 50 in underdog, and he just went 6'2". I really wish he would have fell here, because then, oh my God, we'd have to pause the video so I can go rub one out, because that would have been fucking lovely. So this is where I would have been interested if Kelsey falls to go ahead and lock up the tight end spot. He doesn't, so there's no tight end. I mean, Hawkinson actually is interesting. Right. Yeah, I didn't even see his name on there, honestly. Hawkinson actually is interesting.
Similar tier to Kelsey. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, again, this is talking about if you're watching this video, you can probably find wide receiver value later on. I'm confident that, like, hey, there's going to be a Rome Odunze when we draft again, or a Jacoby Myers. Do we want to draft a wide receiver now and then get the Evan Ingram at 7-9? That's probably going to be my first play, actually. Is get our wide receiver and then get the Evan Ingram or Mark Andrews, whoever falls. Would you agree with that, or are you leaning more tight end right now?
In this spot, with the double hero build, I do prefer to go in the direction of just getting that 4th wide receiver. I think getting a tight end, ideally, like if somebody, like you said, like Travis Kelce falls, that's an easy, we go Travis Kelce there. But with TJ Hawkinson being someone who does normally go around this range, I don't think it's a crazy enough value for me to bypass some of the receiver options. A couple of them, we see Travis Hunter fell to us here. I know we weren't as thrilled in taking him in the previous round. I think he's an option here. Another guy that I look at that I personally am high on, especially in a double hero build, is Calvin Ridley. Just another guy who's very clearly the top guy in his offense. Cam Ward does possess plenty of upside. Obviously, some uncertainty with what year 1 is going to look like, but we know Cam Ward likes to take shots down the field. Calvin really likes to catch shots down the field, so I think that's another good option, especially in the double hero build. But I think Hunter and Ridley are pretty good options here.
Yeah, I think it's really just pick your poison. I'm going to go Calvin Ridley here. Just because, like we're talking about, we want guys that have the potential to just like dominate. And I think his upside is maybe higher than Travis Hunter's, but also I think his floor is better. So I think it's just an overall better pick, but it's so close.
And like if my build is balanced, and you can go ahead and pick there. Yeah, if my build is more balanced and I'm not really that, like there's not as much pressure on getting the receiver position right, then I might go in the direction of Travis Hunter just for the reason of I think their offense is going to be a lot better. I think they're going to throw the ball a ton. Their running back room, not the most impressive. We know their defense is awful. So I think for that reason, in a lot of builds, I would prefer him. But when we're going double hero and we want guys with potential to be their receiver 1, I love Calvin Ridley for that mold.
Yeah, and again, I just went and looked at this while you were talking about finding value later in drafts. Calvin Ridley, average ADP on underdog right now is 52. We got him at pick 6-4. So, again, just finding these guys that are just low ADPs compared to our rankings, underdog ADP, later in the draft with this double hero RB build, I think gives you by far the best advantage over league mates. This is when you can pull off the hero RB at the top correctly. I think this by far gives you the best advantage over your league mates in the league, because when you do go like in this strategy right here, it's just got drafted 5 receivers. So I mean
Yeah,
against the
but
CPU.
look at where their RB1 is.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that,
Like
when you're going
they're having
zero
to
RB,
go.
you recognize the risk that you're taking, but at the same time, it's like if your league's going a different way, and I can attack running back early and take the high value receivers in the middle, not a bad way to go. I'm really starting to like that a lot.
Yeah, and then we're here. Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram. Uh, Mark Andrews has shot up our board with the Isaiah Likely news, but it's also a
Yeah,
very clouded offense. So
sure.
in this scenario right now, we're gonna say, like, let's just say we draft Mark Andrews. Whoever
Mm-hmm.
you pick here, it might change before the offseason's over in our rankings. The strategy here though is you have an RB room filled, you have a wide receiver room filled. You're here at picking at 7-9. You can, if there's a quarterback you really like, which me and Jet have preached that, like, I mean, if for some reason Mahomes, I guess, but like we're
Yeah.
fine. We don't want Baker. We don't want Goff. We want like a Kyler Murray. We want like a Justin Fields. So
Yeah, like we've
I'm
identified
fine
a lot of
waiting.
quarterbacks. I feel like we're both in sync on this. Like we've identified a lot of quarterbacks that are going way later than they should be towards that
Yeah.
middle slash bottom of the QB1 area. Like I would even call out Trevor Lawrence as someone who's becoming very underrated towards the bottom. If you need to
Yeah.
full on punt the position and wait until the very end of your draft and take advantage of values at other positions, I don't think that's a terrible option as your QB1 to leave with. Honestly,
I
yeah.
don't either, and it's just so weird this year in fantasy because I
Mhm.
feel like every year in fantasy people are getting smarter, right? You know, like RBs are going later, wide receivers are going earlier, quarterbacks are going later,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
randomly this year it's just, hey, we're gonna draft Joe Burrow in the 4th round. Hey, we're gonna draft Bo Nix in the 7th round. I don't see how drafting like, especially talking about at value, I'd rather have Drake May in like the 13th round or
Yeah.
Justin Fields in the 11th than Bo Nix in the 7th. When the guys that are going around Bo Nix, like I could get Mark Andrews or Evan Ingram. By the way, Jet, which one are you feeling between these two right now?
I have them in the exact same tier. I do have Mark Andrews just a spot above, I believe, at this
Okay,
point. But I
so we'll
mean,
go Mark.
it's A and B there. They're very good
Yeah,
options. I love that little tier of tight end to get right after we fill out the running back and receiver. Love it.
exactly. And now we're talking about, do we want to go ahead and take our Kyler? Every other team in the league has a quarterback but one, and we're not
Yes.
drafting for another 20 picks. So I think we just go ahead and hit on Kyler and move on.
Yeah, and I'll say for other people, if you run this build, I don't think we had to have felt pressured to go quarterback there just because it's the last position on our roster not filled. But I think for the reason of us having Marvin Harrison, for Kyler Murray
Oh
specifically
yeah,
being the one who
true.
fell, getting that stack is pretty damn beautiful. So we
Yeah,
couldn't pass up on it. But if you had another value, if there's, oh, this running back fell, like I don't know who would be an example, like a Jalen Warren, if somebody fell that you really like there, and all of a sudden you want to go in that direction and wait on quarterback. Like we said, there's values down the board, but Kyler Murray specifically for this build worked out pretty perfect.
yeah. So if me and Jet were like really locked in on this draft, taking it seriously, I think we would have went, hey, let's go ahead and draft Kyler 7-9 because all three of these teams need a
Love it.
quarterback. Let's get our stack, and we know that
That's a good
only one
point.
of these guys needs tight end, so we can just let them choose between Andrews and Ingram for us, and we'll draft the other one here. Granted,
Yeah.
the CPU is going to draft the guys that are high at ADP, and maybe your league mates do too, and Baker and Goff, so it didn't matter. Just something to think about, like who's drafting around you, especially when you're drafting these turns, is like, okay, this guy, only one team will draft tight end. There's 2 tight ends I like. I should probably go quarterback if there's someone I have a very strong inclination on over the others, which we do with Kyler. Now, here, this is where, let me pull this thing back up. Our team is completely filled out. This is now drafting best player available with still, in my opinion, and this is something Jet may disagree with,
Okay.
having a stronger lean towards wide receivers and best player available. If we have two guys that are very similar, me thinking, okay, I have two very strong RB1s, I'd rather have a guy that could maybe, go in and out with Calvin Ridley or someone because he was my last skilled position pick, not count a quarterback,
Yeah.
than trying to draft someone to replace CMC or HM because those guys, like, you're never going to remove those from your lineup. So unless a running back that we really like falls, which I don't really
Yeah,
see
and I
one.
wouldn't. I wouldn't push back on that too much, especially for this specific draft strategy. I do agree with you. Leaning towards wide receiver makes a lot more sense with us being less certain about a guy like Calvin Ridley than we would be, of course, of Devon Achane as our last running back versus last receiver. But yeah, I mean, you say that, but I love the way that Jordan Mason looks right here. So like that's something
Yeah,
that would tempt
I
me.
was
But
gonna
like you
say,
said, if there's a particular back that you think fell and you think that's a great value, now that our roster is filled out, I think you can go there. But I do agree with the sentiment. It makes a lot more sense to favor the receiver position
yeah,
unless there's somebody you really, really like there.
I was gonna say there's a couple wide receivers I'm interested in Higgins, Pittman, Burden,
Mm-hmm.
Shaheed, maybe not Kyle Williams in that tier, but like
I'm
when
really
I look at
liking the
this
noise
running
on
back
Jaden Higgins
tier,
lately.
yeah, I know. When I look at this running back tier, there's literally only one running back I want on this whole screen, and it's Jordan Mason. So it's like, let me just
Sure.
go, and I know we just talked about you don't need to get a running back, but it's like, let's just go ahead and get our third running back out, and then
It's just a
we
value
know that
play.
we can
It really
find
is.
value on this bottom end. Hopefully, Jaden Higgins falls. Oh my God, lovely. We're really high
Nice.
on Jaden
There we go.
Higgins, getting him later on in the draft,
Yeah.
across from C.J. Stroud, or not across from Stroud, across from Nico Collins with C.J. Stroud. Um,
Yep.
Pittman is interesting too, I would say, just because probably a safer floor. But again, I mean, we're drafting a backup wide receiver. I'd much rather take the stab on a rookie and a very good offense, very talented quarterback that likes big body receivers. So, Higgins here. Got 2 picks left, or 3, sorry. Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
we do have 2. I don't know why there's 3 bench spots and 2 spots here, but this is again Jet just drafting best player available, right?
Yeah, for sure. From here on out, really. And like we've preached a bunch of times, and I'm sure most people would already know from us if you watched any of our stuff, don't feel the need to draft a second quarterback or tight end, especially with a build
Yeah,
like this. I feel like we feel pretty good with Mark Andrews and Kyler Murray here. So just hitting on receiver running back value the rest of the way.
yeah. And name that pops out to me is Burden Luther.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
I
I mean, yeah,
just took him in one of my mocks heading into this one. I like
yeah,
Luther Burden versus ADP on Sleeper, and I really like Calvin Ridley. I just left a mock draft of both those guys before this as well.
yeah. I feel like we've done a couple of these, and every time it's like, okay, we're drafting Kyler Murray, we're drafting Luther Burden, we're drafting, someone
Sleeper's
like,
got to catch up on those guys.
yeah. Which again, I mean, that happens all the time. Last year, ESPN ADP, Rasheed Rice was going like 65, and he was going top 40 on Underdog, and I got him in the back of the 5th round in a $500 fantasy league. So
It's ridiculous.
you like don't give your league mates too much credit. A lot of them you're like, oh yeah, I'd love to put in $500, try to win and sweat this out, but they just think they are very knowledgeable when most of these guys aren't. No offense to your league mates, but none of these guys are standing out to me. Jet, is there a name you want to take a stab on, throw a shot on for the video?
Oh, let's see here. On
Oh,
this
I actually know who
list
you want.
here.
Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, well
Okay.
there's
Well, I
Sampson, but
mean,
I'm scrolling down a lot actually.
yeah, I mean, if we're scrolling down a lot, is this our final pick
Holy,
here?
yeah. Did he already go? Oh, he didn't
Okay,
go.
well then.
I was looking for Dante
No,
Thornton.
he's
I know
here.
you like him.
Yeah, I would definitely call out Dante Thornton, and I'm sure we'll be touching on some sleeper picks like him in a video not so far away. But I do like Dante Thornton a lot in that Raiders offense. Obviously, being listed as a starting receiver in their first depth chart is pretty notable because they did take Jack Besh in the 2nd round of the draft. Dante Thornton was a 4th round draft pick, and yet Dante Thornton has made a ton of noise in camp and already beaten him out for the job as a deep threat for Geno Smith. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, and again,
Great option
oh, okay,
for your last
the
round.
13th round just magically appeared. By the way, it's not been on the screen the whole time.
That's why I didn't know if we were on our last pick, but
Yeah,
that's
I thought it was so
okay.
weird because there's an
Probably
open
want to look to
spot.
get a see what backs we got.
Yeah, I wish the pick right before this Sampson went. I would have been interested in Sampson, just because the Judkins weird. I don't even know what to call it. I mean,
Yeah,
again, talking about Judkins, you just want to go ahead and go with Ford, low upside but
yeah.
safe floor. I mean,
But
that's what you're kind of getting with a lot of these guys.
we're chasing guys that are gonna have for sure roles because that's something that you've touched on a lot too. Is going against guys that are more handcuff vibes and more they're gonna have a role and they could be good right away. So I think Ford's definitely one of those options. Roshan Johnson is somebody we've talked about in the past as well. Braylon Allen probably will have a role of some sort, but I mean Jerome Ford, just shooting for him to be a quality option is solid there.
Yeah,
as somebody that
and
would be getting the bulk of the carries.
in most drafts, these 12 guys are all going to be on waivers by week 2. So
Yeah, for sure.
don't feel like super attached if like you see. I still can't remember the name of the Jaguars. I'm going to look this up right now.
Oh,
There was a
I know.
Jaguars running back in like
It's James
2019.
Robinson, isn't it?
Yes, thank you, James Robinson.
James Robinson. I finally pulled that. I know you said that last
Yes,
video.
okay. He came out of nowhere. I think this was his rookie year. Like undrafted rookie free agent, if I'm not mistaken. And then like first season just had like literally first game like had a big role. I don't know if someone got injured that game. I can't even remember, but everyone like I made this mistake. This was 2020. I wasn't as I don't know the correct word, knowledgeable on fantasy. I was like, man, I really like some random ass running back that I drafted in the 13th round. I don't want to spend. I don't want to get James Robinson. Like it just seems like a fluke game. It was like a Thursday night game, I think, and he had a pretty good start. Let's see what he did. So this was a Sunday night game. He had. Oh wait, that was opposite. This was a Sunday game. He had 16 for 62 with a catch for 28 yards. So that's like that's like a 10 fantasy game. I was like, I'm really not interested. And I was like, oh, this is the guy. He got 17 touches. I was too attached to some random guy, and then this guy was literally like RB8 that year, and you got him for free on waivers. So don't feel too attached to the guys you're drafting this week.
Somebody like that than drafting somebody like that, basically.
Yeah,
is what
especially after you see 1 week of games. Like you could see, if Benson literally gets 0 carries week 1, 0 snaps, and then someone like Dylan Sampson who got dropped for some reason is leading the backfield. That like no one's like gonna freak out about that. That's very. You can see that happening is what I'm trying to say. So,
yeah, for sure.
Again, this is our favorite RB draft. Just our favorite draft in general, I think. That's what me and Jet, when we sit here and we send each other our mock drafts that we're liking, it's almost always a hero RB start because the rest of your team where you're finding this value like the Calvin Ridley, the Tets, the Marvin Harrison's 3-9 is just so freaking good. You could get 6 top 50 picks according to Underdog ADP and our rankings, doing this strategy. I don't think you could do that with any other strategy. And that's just how the drafts fall. Especially, Jet did one today where he's drafting at the front of the draft. I can't believe we haven't hit on this. He's drafting at the front where you can go Bijan 1-3. And then you can go Chase Brown 2-10. Which Chase Brown fell all the way to 3-10 in this. So it's like you could go Bijan, then go Trey McBride, then go Chase Brown. Like that draft, you still went hero RB, but you also got that tight end because we were talking about tight ends are kind of weird. They're not going to fall to you back here. Or they're not going to be a reach. Yeah. But like that draft is sexy. But again, it's the hero RB. It's one of our favorite drafts. If you guys want more content like this, the next video me and Jed are doing is a sleepers draft. And we're going to do biggest bust or worst pick, stuff like that. We've done mock drafts from the front of the draft, mock drafts from the back of the draft, etc. Leave a like on this video, subscribe, and check out all the other videos. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.